Well, hello, Instagram. I have missed you. I've missed you. And it's been a while since I've done a live, so I just want to make sure everything is working, and I think we're good. So it's been a minute since I've been on here. It's been a minute. And I have been offline for about 12 days, I think. And that's a long time for me. But because if you've been following me for a while, I hang out on Instagram the most often. Hey, Stephanie. And hey, Carrie. And so I've been offline for 12 days and I've missed Instagram because I have so many wonderful connections here because this is where I hang out, and a lot of people that I've met in person and through workshops and seminars all around the world. And so this is where I stay connected to them. And so not being connected to them was a little like, but I had to attend to some life things. So I'll get into that in a minute. But so happy to be back, and I figured just the best way to share this would be alive because, the world is changing. A lot of people are going through different transitions, and so I just needed to step back and kind of conserve my energy, and social media wasn't one of the things that made the priority list for that. So, but anyway, I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy to already see people that I'm connected to here. So thank you for popping on. And so if you haven't, so I've been offline for 12 days, but over the past 2 weeks, there has been a lot of shifting in my life. I will say that. And if you are in certain circles in my world, you've had some idea of what's going on. So if you are one of my acupuncture patients, you have an idea of what just transpired. Or if you are a very close friend of mine or a family member, you also know. But outside of that, I don't think a lot of other people actually knew what was going on with me. So yeah, I just wanted to make a video and talk about just air the things. So as you know, if you've been following me for a while, that, I live in Chicago with my husband. I have my 2 kitties, and I have an acupuncture practice downtown in the Chicago Loop that I've cultivated over the past 10 years. And so, all of that stuff is beautiful and very, all parts, important parts of my life. However, there has been a change. And the husband and the kitties are still intact. Chicago, however, is not. And I have transitioned out of Chicago. I have transitioned out of Illinois. And so that took a lot of attention and care and logistics and sleepless nights and all the things. But I'm not in Chicago anymore. So that's a big deal for me. Growing up as a military kid, I was a Navy brat. My dad is a doctor, or he's retired now, but my dad was a doctor in the Navy. And so we moved. I grew up moving every 2 to 3 years. And so moving to me is no big deal. However, I'd been in Chicago for 20 years, and that's where I spent, my 20s, my 30s, my early 40s. And so it's the longest place I've ever lived anywhere. So it feels very much like home to me. And getting ready for this transition, I forgot how much mental and physical and energetic and just energy goes into uprooting your life and moving it somewhere new. And so I just needed to pull back and not be online for those 2 weeks transition. And it was a bittersweet transition for sure, because I've loved Chicago so much. There were so many happy memories there. And I've loved, just everything that I've experienced there. It's the biggest part of my life there. And I have loved having an acupuncture practice there for the past 10 years. Leaving, I don't want to cry, but leaving some of my patients was really hard. So, that goes without saying, because when you care and you treat somebody and you go through their life with them, their ups and downs and their challenges and everything for 10 years, you establish a bond. So that was definitely a bittersweet transition of closing my acupuncture practice, because there were many branches of my Jade Path business, and my Jade Path acupuncture had been in place in Chicago for 10 years. And so, closing some of those relationships. The last day I saw patients in my beautiful office was October 28th. So, so that portion of my practice is like, just picked up, and I will be sort of rerouting it, regrounding it where I am now, which I will tell you in a minute. But all of this came to pass very, very quickly. And so, hey, Mark. And so, yeah, me and my husband, we decided that, Chicago was, as beautiful as it has been, is no longer the place, or was no longer the place for us for many reasons. But everything happened so quickly. So like 2 weeks ago, I was still seeing patients and living in Chicago. And here I am now 2 weeks later, and I have closed that acupuncture practice. The Chicago condo is sold, and we are in a new space. So it can happen quick, but we were it was a conscious decision to leave. And the biggest thing I wanted to share is that, and I tell my patients this all the time, and my acupuncture patients and my mentoring clients, is that it's important to have more courage than fear. Like, fear is there when we're making big changes throughout our life. However, having the courage to keep going in the face of fear is really, really important. And so uprooting our life was scary. Leaving a practice of 10 years, acupuncture practice of 10 years that I created and cultivated myself. My husband leaving a law firm practice that he has been at for 20 years. We were like, what the fuck are we doing? But there is a sense of the things that we wanted were greater than where we were comfortable at. And I think that's a really important point to talk about right now, while everybody is experiencing some sort of change in their life on some sort of level. And I know Mark hears me. And so, to a certain degree, like, we weren't really happy, things in this, we were just needing a change of life. And for me specifically, being the Aries sun sign and the Leo moon and ascending sign, like, that's a lot of fire. I have a lot of fire in me. And so I'm very good at making the changes and making the leap when I feel called to move. That is something that I'm thankful to have, because when I know when I know it's time to leave, I'm like, fuck it. All right, let's go. Let's leave. And so I'm very glad my husband was on board with this whole thing. But the quality of life we were looking for was very different. And for me, I had felt, although I loved my acupuncture practice and everything, there was a lot of the feeling of stagnancy. I don't know if that's a word, but I felt very stagnant in my life. And even though I've created new things over the past few years and had different offerings in my practice and my business, I have felt very stagnant for a while. And until we made the decision to leap, I didn't realize how heavy that was for me. And because I wasn't really allowing myself to expand and grow in the ways that I have wanted to expand and grow for a while. So anyway, new start and big changes. And you can tell I've been crying if you just popped on. So, but it's all good, and it's all very exciting. And I am very excited to not be in Chicago anymore. So a week ago, yesterday, on Wednesday, I think it was November 3rd, we woke up at like 2:45 in the morning, and I'm not a morning person, but with the stress of it all, I just couldn't sleep anyway. We drugged our kitties, we put them in the carrier, and we drove 10 hours southwest-ish, and we have landed in Northwest Arkansas. Now, never in a million years would I have thought that this would be somewhere that I would voluntarily move, but the area is more amazing than I would have thought. And I have not been to other areas of Arkansas, but Northwest Arkansas is very special. And it's kind of, there's rolling hills, There has beautiful weather. I mean, I'm in a sundress today. It's like in the 70s today, and it's like mid-November. So the fall is very extended here. And so there's just so much going on. There's a lot of they invest a lot of money into like the town and the way it's growing, because it's growing by leaps and bounds. So there's a large art culture scene here. The museums are really good. There's a lot of music, live music here, which I'm super excited to tap into. Farmers markets, everything that we would need or that we got comfortable to and acclimated to in Chicago, you can pretty much find here. And so like me and my husband are food snobs for sure. And we like to do things and be outside, and the outdoor activities here, it's like the mountain biking capital of the world, I guess. We didn't really know that. But there's so much here that we can sink our teeth into and try to create new things so we're super excited. So we have just landed here a week ago, and we're just renting an apartment for now, but we're excited to find land. And I am excited to find land that I can in the future hold retreats on. So I would like to hold retreats. And so if that's something that you are interested in, like definitely stay tuned. But that's in the future. So it's a really amazing place to be. I received the message. So I'm a light worker, like if you didn't know, that I work with light workers, but I was holding a specific frequency for Chicago, and specifically for the corruption and the bullshit and all the weird stuff that happens in Chicago. And my job there is complete. My job there is complete. And that feels really good, because that was important for me to know before I left. And so now, where we are in Northwest Arkansas, I know that there is new work to be done here, because our work is never done as light workers, right? But there's some gritting that needs to be done. And the earth, you guys, my fellow light workers that are grid workers too, it's amazing here. It's like so cool. So this place, just if you didn't know, Dolores Cannon is from Arkansas. So if you're not familiar with Dolores Cannon, she's no longer with us, but she has amazing things to say. She talks about like the different waves of light workers that have come to the planet, and have specific jobs while they're here. And I mean, among other things, she talks about the ascension transition that we are finding ourselves in right now as a human collective on planet Earth. So she's just like super cool. So she's from Arkansas. I had no idea. And you guys, there are quartz crystals in the earth here, like all over the place. So there are places where you can go and you can pull crystals out of the ground. And so you best be believing I will be finding those places and going like quartz spelunking. I don't know if that's the thing, but I will be digging for quartz crystals in the earth, as well as diamonds. There are diamonds in the earth here. So I was like, I love diamonds. I only have a few, but like there are quartz crystals and there are diamonds in the earth here. And like the frequency here is just, I got so used to, like, Chicago is really dense and it is hard to ground really well in Chicago. And then I came here and I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. So excavating. Thank you, Lori. Yes, excavating. I will be doing some excavation for clear quartz crystals and diamonds at some point, because there are places that you can go do that down here. So, if you want to join me, let me know. It's only an hour flight from Chicago O'Hare to get to the Fayetteville airport. So this is where we are and where we're setting up shop. And I'm just really looking forward to doing the hygge thing, like that Scandinavian word hygge, I think is how you pronounce it. It's Hygge, and it just means like the making of the home and the getting cozy. And since we're, headed up against the holidays, I'm just really looking forward to sort of continuing to unpack, because we have a lot of shit, and just getting really comfortable here and starting to make my connections and things like that. Because I will be, my acupuncture license is in the process of being transferred from Illinois to Arkansas. So I will be doing some acupuncture here, and I've met some wonderful people so far. So, the work is evolving. My acupuncture practice is evolving. The other courses and mentoring things, I know will be evolving over the next few months as well. And so, you know, all new, a fresh start, like my mother-in-law said, a fresh start, a new beginning, and it feels like a breath of fresh air. So if you are finding yourself in this similar situation where you're like, I feel a little stagnant, or like, you know, relationships are changing, work things are changing, or like, you know, in your heart of hearts that it is time to make some sort of shift, that is time to make some sort of change, but you're comfortable enough where you are, make the leap. Make the leap. Allow the energy of this year as it's coming to a close to help propel you and like prepare you for like the next chapter of what's next for you of your choosing, because it's always better to make the choice consciously of the things that you want, you opting into them versus being forced uncomfortably into them for whatever reason. So moving was a very conscious choice, and so glad we did. So I don't know what's to come. And that's okay, because, you know, that's how life is right now. And we're in this very high, this very fast moving portal of energy right now, especially like, you know, eclipse season we have the energy of eclipse season still with us. And, you know, the 11/11 portal, the 12/12 portal, the solstice, and then 2023 is coming in with a bang. So I encourage you to, you know, ride that wave on the top if you can and be conscious in what you are choosing into, because it just makes it so much more harmonious and easy when we're doing that. So Tiffany says, oh my God, are you speaking to me? I received that. Oh, yay. I'm so glad. It's the time. It's the time to shift and change and evolve, really, is what we're doing. So we get to do it. We get to do it together. And hopefully, you know, I've inspired you to make some big changes, since, you know, I've made some big changes. So anyway, that's kind of what the latest is. So if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to send me a direct message. Or if you have been to Northwest Arkansas, or you are in Northwest Arkansas, definitely send me a DM and let me know like the deets of like the area, because this place is beautiful. We already went hiking last weekend to get outside. I'm gonna start posting some pictures now that we're kind of settled in here. The sky is beautiful. The sky is so beautiful. So, and the sunsets are gorgeous. So anyway, it's a beautiful place to be. Happy to be here, and just wanted to catch you up on all of the big changes that I've made and encourage you to do the same. So I will be back on Instagram, and just you guys, oh, thank you so much for the congrats. Now is definitely the time. That is correct, Lori. Now is definitely the time. Always the time. So thank you, Stephanie. So happy to see you. Thank you for sharing. And I will see you guys on the gram. So have a beautiful rest of your week.